Okay, finally he's gonna be able to be flight worthy again. I went ahead and put in the new head that I just finally got from UJ Toys. At first they sent me the wrong one. They sent me the plastic one that the D03 brings instead of the D01. So they saw they made a mistake. They sent me the correct one. Thank you, UJ Toys. I replaced the blades with these KBDDs, which look awesome. Since mine's got scratched, it didn't get, I mean, it wasn't broken or anything, but with carbon graphite, after your first crash or second crash or any crash, you gotta be careful. If there's a small hairline fracture on that thing, you don't want that thing splitting in midair. So it's better, the blades are cheap, so it's better to replace them. So I took advantage and got some green ones on there, and I went ahead and I replaced the tail blade. I did the alignment, I pretty much eyeballed it. So I gotta check now. I mean, it's extremely windy this morning, so I'm not gonna fly it. I'm only gonna wind it up. I'm gonna see if it pulls to the left or pulls to the right, and then start adjusting the servo arms depending on how much pull it has, and then I'll go ahead and trim it out. And like I said, I haven't even tested the tail blades or nothing, so it's pretty much just an initial test of everything right now. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it on, jack it in. Alright, I'm on my normal mode 0, and I put my timer on, even though I'm not going to fly it, but I just want to wind it up, make sure that okay, got a little bit of wobble in the beginning there. Okay, so far so good. Let's try it again. Yeah, pretty heavy wobble. Could be the blades, or the blades just need alignment. You go a little faster to see if the wobble goes away. I like that you can see the green on the blades. That's pretty cool. I gotta do the blade test. I haven't put a tape on the blade yet to kind of tell me if they're misaligned, but based on that little wobble that it has, I can pretty much say it is. What I'm going to do actually is bring it back down for a minute for this test here real quick, because right now it's technically pulling it down because this thing starts at a negative 15%. So let me go ahead and hold on, let me stop the timer for a second. Let me go ahead and change my pitch curve on my normal from 16%, negative 16, all the way up to 0. Okay, and in my midpoint, all the way to 0. So this thing cannot take off, and we're set up. Okay, right there I should have 0 all the way on my pitch curve. See, if I flick this to mode 1, you'll see that that's negative 60. That should be 0. So now I'm going to wind up at 0 and stay at 0, even all the way to 50%. So it should not take off, even at 50%. So let's see. That's 0 pitch right there. I'm at 25, maybe 20 there. Woo! Yeah, see right there at 0 pitch, it started twisting to the side. That means that we definitely have a some issues on the pitch there. So at 0, it should not twist for any reason in any direction coming up at all. So let me go ahead and rebind it one more time. Let the gyro reset so it understands it's back at 0. Alright, And again, even at 50%, this should not tilt in any direction. Yeah, we have wind, but since I'm facing the wind, we should not have any tilt. Oh. Our little wind up there at first. Alright, let me face it here again. Where's that wind coming from? There we go, right there. Just in case. Here we go again. It's a hard little jump there at the beginning. Funny that the tail's slowly moving, but it's not doing anything. See that? Huh. One of it doesn't like that new tail. Alright. Keep her there. 23%. 25% right there. Yeah, that's a little better. I guess the gyro. Alright, 25.5%. Let's take a look at that blade. I don't know if I could actually tell. Yeah, you see that little wobble right there? I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. You can see that the blade's wobbling up and down. That means that the pitch is off on one of them. Either one of them is too high or one is too low. But you should only look like there's one blade there, and I can see a slight up and down little wobble there going on. Very minor, but it's there. So obviously, the more we can get rid of from that wobble, the better. Let me go a little faster. 30%. And again, I got it 0 pitch, so it should not be taken off. But again, the breeze should try to move it like it is right there, you see? Yeah, I'm getting a lot of wobble. Look how the back is shaking. Got a lot of vibration going on there. On the tail, on the head. Oh, it's a lot of vibration. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I don't want to risk it with a new tail and new blades, so I'm going to put the old tail back on just to make sure that the tails are not causing any problems before I switch them out. Make sure that the main blades are perfect. Once those are adjusted in place and all the servo arms are adjusted, then I'll go ahead and change the tail blade and see if that needs any adjustment. Alright, so definitely one of these guys are off. Let me shut this off before I pull something from a mistake. So I don't know if the camera was able to see it, but at high speed it looks like the blades are kind of doing this. A little bit of a slow wobble up and down, so that means that one of these are higher than the other ones. Right now it's at 0 pitch, so it should be perfect for alignment. So, and the way I would fix this is simply, let me see if this motor got hot. It's not bad, it's been sitting around for a little while, so it's pretty good. Alright, is actually pop one of these out, twist it, and adjust it. Like I said, I gotta see which is the one. I don't want to adjust the wrong one and we pull off even more, but as long as they're both in the same direction, we should be pretty good. I'll take it apart now and test it again, and I'll do a spin out. And the easiest way to tell is that don't use the factory settings, which is -16 and then 20, because then you'll never be at 0. Just set both your low and your mid at 0. That way you're completely always at 0, the pitch, and when you spin it out, you'll be able to tell what's straight, what's not, and then avoid any wobbles and shakes, because usually if you're like at a -16 or a negative anything, you're gonna get some pull down to the ground. So alright, I'll go make the adjustments, try it again, and see where it leads me. Alright, here, where's my flashlight? My gyro is actually placed right on top of the gyro itself. It's at 0. And the surface that it's on, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me put it at an angle. Is at 0. So the gyro shouldn't try to compensate the swash plate. I'm going to strap it down. I put a little bit of a pad there to make sure that the Heli was at 0 too. I'm going to strap this down a little tighter to make sure it doesn't wobble around, and then test the blade tracking again, and it should give me a decent amount of less vibration, and make sure it's tweaked out before I take it outside again. Alright, let's go for my good old school electric tape. Good for everything, especially holding down helicopters. Children, do not try this at home. Alright, so this will strap it down fairly tight. I don't want to put it too tight. I don't want to damage bend the landing gear, but I want it tight enough this thing doesn't try to move. Alright, let me test that. Okay, we're pretty much at 0 there. Place it on top of the gyro. Slightly off. So what I'm going to do is loosen this side a tad. Raise it back a little bit with these two bubbles. And there we go. Alright, so Heli's pretty firm. Ground shouldn't be moving. There's going to be some slight vibration, obviously because of the engine. Let's turn it on. Alright. Transmitter on. Heli plugged in. Handshake happening. Now if you notice that my handshake from my helicopter to my transmitter is fairly fast, that's because I'm using the fixed ID. I gave it a fixed ID so I don't have to worry about the long binds or any other transmitter ever picking up this receiver unless they have my specific code. It will not pick up. Alright, let's go. Now, what I hate about this Heli is that it doesn't wind up slow, like from 0 to 100. I mean, I move it up and the engine really doesn't kick in to like about 15%, give or take. So, there we go. I'm going to go really slowly because I don't want to do a hard kick when I first turn it on. So right now I'm at 2%, 3%, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. You see? So I don't know why it does that, but it really doesn't wind up to about 15%. Alright, so vibration is a lot less, a lot smoother. I see my swash plate more level. A little bit because obviously where I have it off the surface is leaning back a little bit, so no big deal, but it's not trying to compensate left and right. So now I'm going to go ahead and move her up to maybe 20%. That's 16, 17, 18% right there. Now keep in mind, I set my low pitch to 0 and my medium pitch to 0. So I have no pitch on this, so it won't try to pull down or it won't try to take off. Even if I'm at 50%, this should not try to take off. I mean, the vibration and the speed will try to make the tail move. That's why I tighten it down. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at our blade here. It's pretty smooth, a lot smoother than what I had earlier. There was a lot more wobble earlier, so I'm happy. It's not 100% perfect, but like I said, the vibration has eliminated a lot. Now, I see the blade perfectly round green. The camera, since it only could pick up 30 frames per second, and some better camera 60, you're probably going to see that blade like not moving at all or in slow motion. So I'm going to slowly walk around the different angles of this blade. Gonna give you some views there, see what you can see. But I hit it with a flashlight. There's the edges of the blade right there. Looks really smooth. You know, it is tied down, but the vibration is pretty smooth. I see that the gyro is slowly tilting to the left a little bit, even though that everything is perfectly aligned, or somewhat aligned. The degrees here. Let me be very careful, I don't want to hurt myself. And based on that, we're at 0 pitch and 0 degrees on this box. So there is some compensation going on there. I don't know if it's the gyro or not, so what I'm going to do is look at it straight. It's kind of trying to angle it by itself. And I think by factory these things do angle a little bit, so I'll try to manually trim it out or adjust it. I have everything zeroed out here, so there shouldn't be no trim. I think it's good. Tail looks good. Perfectly round on there. Top blade looks good. Lines are smooth. Let me hold it there for a second. Alright. The gear. I see like maybe a slight little micro vibration on that gear. I might replace it. Alright, 18. I'm gonna head her up to 20. 21% right there. Okay. Obviously at this point there is some vibration. I see the tail in the back. So I have to fine tune those out. I'm not gonna go any higher than 20% because that's already, you see the front? I see a lot of vibration in the front. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. 19%. Okay, we got some shakes in the front here. Tails all over the place. Pretty good. I see the antenna vibrating a little bit. Now, let me stand up a little bit and try to move her up slowly a little faster. 23. 24. 25. Right there we're at 25%. And that thing is just moving. Look at that. I think that's good. Yeah, there's vibration, but we're trapping it down. The tail's not moving. Alright, I think she's ready for an air test, a flight test, so let me bring it down slowly. Hey, you see that right there? As soon as I went to like 10%, the second I did that, that gyro just went and moved down. As soon as I hit about 10%, that gyro just kicked down. I think the gyro on there only kicks on at a certain amount of, let me see the motor. It should be ice cold because we're indoors. And this, woo, hot a little bit. I mean, I ran for a little while, but I gotta put a heat sink or something on this thing. I'm not too happy with that heating up so much there. Alright, let me go ahead and unplug it before I hit something and hurt myself. Power down. Like I said, I mean, don't do this on like flight mode 1 or even normal regular. If you're gonna do this on normal, go into your transmitter, set your low to 0 pitch, set your medium to 0 pitch, and hell, if you want to set your high to 0 pitch too, it doesn't matter, but Do not go over 25. As you saw, 25% was very, very fast. At like 15, 18%, you should have enough spin to be able to take a look at your blade tracking and be able to realize if this thing has too much vibration, too little vibration, you know. Now, strapped on as it was, this thing actually moved. Look at this. I had it perfectly centered. So it has it has some power. It has some pretty strong power there. So let me go ahead and take all this off here. Hopefully it didn't bend anything. Nope, looks good. All right, perfect. All right, the next test will be outdoors. I'm sure that once I start taking off, I'll get a little wiggle in there. What I'm probably gonna do is at 50%, it turns hover to on. What I'm gonna do is on my pitch and on my throttle, my dual rate and on my throttle settings, I'm gonna go ahead and move the hover all the way to like 75% or maybe 65%. I don't know. I don't want this thing to start the gyro to start taking over at 50%. Because it'll start slowly taking over. It won't just 50% boom kick start taking over. So if I move it to like 75%, it should not try to compensate till like I'm up. I mean, I don't have a problem manually flying this. And again, maybe I'll take that gyro down to like 60% or something. Right now I have it at 80. And on mode 1 I got it at 70, so I might drop it down to 70 on regular mode, and then, you know, 60, 50, 40, you know, 60, 50, and, you know, give or take. So, all right, I'll continue with the tests, and hopefully we can, the next thing would be to adjust any tilt that it has, but that would be outside once I try to get it off the ground. When I first try to take off, if I see it trying to, like, tilt a little bit, I'll reset the gyro, make sure the gyro understands where everything is leveled, and if it's still doing it, then we'll manually compensate by adjusting these servo arms here. And then when we can't twist anymore, we can't manually compensate, then we'll do it digital on the remote. And we'll do it with the manual. I hate doing the manual, but first we'll do it manual here for the adjustments, and then we'll do it on the sub settings or on the travel settings, and we'll go from there. All right, I'm gonna test the vibrations now that it's not strapped in. It's windy as hell out here today, but again, I got everything at 0 pitch, and I'm just gonna adjust, make sure all the vibration is gone, and that the new wings work. Yeah, that wind is no joke. Okay, 60, 0, 60, 0. It's working good. Servo arms there. Alright. I have not charged the battery from the last test, so man, that wind. I just want to see if it's not vibrating. And again, like before, I think I have to get up to like 15% for that motor to kick in initially. But it's a lot smoother. I don't got that little jump I had before. Still have a little bit of vibration. It is 22%. Yeah, you see it has like a little initial vibration every now and then. And it wants to move with the breeze. 15%, I'm getting a wobble. Let me see here. I doubt it's that breeze that's kicking in because it's still in the ground. %. Yeah, she wants to fly even though it's at 0 pitch. Alright. Alright, let me reset the gyro and put it in a lower position where the ground's even, and then test it again. Alright. Ground's perfectly flat there. Resetting the gyro. Vibration test number 2. Smooth wind up. Yeah, we got that vibration. It's still heavy. The fin should have been okay. I don't know why. We're getting a lot of vibration still. 25 right there. There's my tail. Man, that breeze is hard. I want to keep her at 21% and look at it sideways. See how that blade is doing. I got my finger ready to cut it off if that wind makes this thing move. It shouldn't, but just in case. Alright. I think I still see a little bit of a slight movement. Something rubbing? I'm hearing like a... That's probably the humming from the wind. Alright. Take off the canopy and make sure nothing's rubbing in there. Everything's clear. Cables are out of the way. Cables out of the way. Gears are okay. Okay, let me keep the canopy off. So our tests are a little smoother. The motor runs a little cooler with the canopy off.
Hey, want my change?
No. I'm okay, thank you, puppy.
I'll leave it there if you want it.
No, it's okay. Just put it away. See, maybe did that power cable move from the ESC? Let me try that one more time. It was me. Again, that breeze is really hard today, but even with that breeze, I shouldn't get that shake that's happening there. %. Tail seems to be working. 30%. 36%. Alright, it's a lot steadier at a higher speed. That's a good sign. 40%. 45. Okay, at 49%. I can't go any higher because if I do, the pitch is gonna start kicking in. So it's pretty steady at that speed. I'm happy. So she might be flight worthy tomorrow. Let me look at it at different angles there. Yeah, at 50%, very steady. Hope a breeze don't come in right now. Very, very steady at 50%. Let me look at the blade. Yep. Slight, I mean micro slight breeze starting to come in, so I'm going to slow down. Alright, 50%, it was very smooth, so I'm happy. I'm not going to put on the other tail yet. I'm going to fly like this tomorrow in the park, see how she does, and go from there. So right now, as is, I'm going to go ahead. I know it's breezy, but I'm going to go ahead and get my pitch curve. put my low. Back to -16. My mid. Back to 20%. Alright. I'm gonna kill the power, put it back on, let the gyro reset with that setting. Okay, now the blades are at -16 right there. So flicking this up gives me -60. Putting it back gives me -16. So this blade is no longer at 0 when it's at the bottom. So here at like 30%, it should try to start taking off. Now with this breeze, the second it starts moving, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna throttle down, but I want to make sure that it's not like trying to tilt to the right or tilt to the left, and that'll let me know if the servos are off. So here we go. Nice smooth wind up. 20%. 24. At 25 we should be at 0 pitch. Moving up. At 30 is going to try to lift a little bit. And there she goes. I don't see any tilt. 38% right there. So far so good. 44. At 50 it'll try to lift off. Not bad. It has a micro pull to the left, which is awesome. Which I don't mind at all. It's not a hard pull. Something that's doable. So, if this breeze stops for a second, I'm going to try a small takeoff. I know I shouldn't, but what the hell. Here we go. I'm gonna let that hard breeze pass first. That way I can't blame the breeze if I crash. Keeping the cover off just to keep it cool, since I'm not gonna be flying hard. I'm just gonna be testing it locally. And here we go. Come on, Mr. Breeze. $20, $30, $36. There we go. Well, new blades so far so good. The gyro's only at 70%, meaning I got a lot of control. The hover seems good. The wind is kind of hard. I can tell you, see when that wind kicks in? Woo! It's not bad. It's handling it pretty well. Alright. Let me bring it down slowly. Well, somewhat slowly. Alright. I'm satisfied. I barely had to hold it up. And that the gyro, I have the expo completely off. I have hovering completely off, and I have the gyro only at 70% instead of 80, what is recommended. So I'm happy as is. She will fly tomorrow with this tail. Then after that flight, I'll swap out the tail with the green tail, just because green looks cool. All right, my bird's ready to fly again. Yay! This is for you people who are not sure, or oh, where did my canopy go? People who don't know what this is the Walkera V450D01. I haven't done much mods to it. This is the version 2 though that has the 6-axis gyro. I did add a additional battery in the front for the FPV kit. I do have the FPV camera in the bottom. And let me give you a quick overview here, just in case you haven't watched my other videos. Has the FPV camera in the bottom. which transmits with a 5.8 gigahertz transmitter in the back. And then this is a little switch that I actually connected where I can flick the camera on. You'll see a little blue light in the bottom come on there. And automatically the remote itself, with gear, you flick it 3 times or 2 times, something like that, it turns on the camera record. So that's pretty neat. So I don't have to manually press record. Let me go ahead and turn it off. The second I turn it on, this starts broadcasting. Now I don't have a shark head yet or a receiver for that video, but that's coming next. I just wanted to make sure that after that crash that we had at the park, that we're back to normal. Actually feels a lot better, because I mean it took off with this wind. It took off really smooth. It held pretty good. There's the new head that I got replaced, and then I got the servo arms replaced, and I replaced the landing gear, which was completely cracked. Everything else seemed fine. Like I said, there was some small vibration at low speed, but everything else seemed good. It hovered well. I'm going to keep the settings as is. I'm happy as it, they perform very well. I'm going to put this battery to charge, and with the same exact battery, I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm actually going to mark where I have this battery at, because it wasn't pulling forward and it wasn't pulling backward. It was actually perfect where it was. So I want to make sure I put that battery back exactly the same exact position. So I'm going to mark it with like a little silver mark here and there to make sure I put it back in the same spot. So, alright, I hope you enjoy my videos.